All right. So, now that I've had time to gather my thoughts together, I feel that I should further clarify what I was expressing in my reaction video and just the overall perspectives of this Orlando Brown trade. Now, my reaction video still got the point through, but that was based on raw emotion. And sometimes when you're dealing with a reaction, you don't really get to further, clarify your thoughts to your audience. It's more so it's based on raw emotion. You still get your overall point through, but it's better to further clarify it in a more calmer base, which I love to do. So I love making those reactions because this is based on my raw emotion immediately, how I felt about it after seeing this. But at the same time, I also like clarifying it in another video. So that's what we're here to do. Now, I've had time to look at a lot of comments and see how the Ravens flock feel about this trade. And based on that, my reaction pretty much hits on the overall emotion I'm seeing from a lot of Ravens fans. They're not necessarily mad at the trade. They're more so, mad at who we traded with. Some people kind of look at the trade and saying we could have got more. Others are completely fine with it and don't mind that we traded with Kansas City. It's just a mixed opinion right now. So I want to further clarify the overall perspectives of this Orlando Brown trade. It basically comes down to two perspectives: the business perspective and the fan perspective. Now, the business perspective, we all know that there's no emotions, no rivalry, no team hatred towards each other. It's just two teams coming together to try and get some sort of benefit. What can this trade do for my team? How can I benefit from this trade? That's basically what Kansas City and Baltimore are doing. It's simple business. This is just how it works in the NFL. This is just how it works for all sports. Matter of fact, this is just how it works in the business world. You're always trying to get some sort of benefit or profit. How can you gain something from this trade? And when you look at the situation, both teams really do gain something from this. In Kansas City's case, they get Orlando Brown Jr., our 2021 second round pick, and then our 2022 sixth round pick. In our case, we get Kansas City's 2021 first round pick, the 2021 third round pick, the 2021 fourth round pick, and their fifth round pick in 2022. So both teams do benefit. Now, for Kansas City, how do they benefit from this? Easy. Kansas City's biggest weakness is their offensive line. They've been addressing that throughout the offseason. However, they were still looking for an offensive tackle. They were looking to address that in the draft. However, based on what they did in this trade, it's clear as day that that 31st overall pick wasn't something they were very confident in. They didn't believe, some level of belief was there that they weren't going to be able to get the guy they were looking for to help patch up this offensive line with that 31st overall pick because it's so late in the first round. All of a sudden, here comes Orlando Brown Jr., a two-time Pro Bowl tackle who can play the left tackle position for them. You bring him in, you're pretty much solidifying that offensive line for Kansas City. That was their biggest weakness. That was the biggest hole on the team. So obviously, from a business perspective, Kansas City's going to make this move. They don't mind giving up the draft picks. What people got to understand is with Kansas City, they are literally a Super Bowl contending team now. They won the Super Bowl a couple years back, and they were in the Super Bowl last year. They're still in contention. There's not many holes on this team, so them losing draft picks does not affect them because they're in win-now mode. They need to get a legit tackle that can help out with the offensive line. So giving up those draft picks does not affect Kansas City. And best of all, they get a second-round draft pick alongside Orlando Brown Jr. They don't care about giving up that first-round draft pick. Now, in terms of signing him and extending him, that's something they're going to have to figure out because he's not going to be on the contract. He's going to be on his last year. They'll figure that part out. But getting him here in a situation where you're in the win-now mode because you are in championship contention, this is perfect for Kansas City. And now they can use the second-round pick they got from Baltimore to further add to that. That second-round draft pick is going to play a huge role for Kansas City. So if you're a Chiefs fan, you got to love this deal. On the flip side for Baltimore, you managed to get another first-round draft pick. I know some people look at first-round draft picks and understand that it's a late one, so it's 31, so it's not much of a big difference between that and the first round, but it's still a first-round draft pick. Those are valuable, and the reason why they're so valuable is because it allows whoever you draft to be put to get a fifth-year option, which does wonders. So now whoever the Ravens choose to draft with their first-round draft picks, both of them will be they will have at least 5 years. They'll have a fifth year option, which works for them. You got two first round draft picks. Now, granted, they may still use one of those draft picks to draft down and get some extra picks. I don't know. That's possible. DeCosta always loves getting picks, and he loves having second round picks, which is why I'm kind of surprised he gave this one up. But I'm not mad at it. So, They could still draft down and get themselves a second round draft pick and maybe a third potentially for that. Or they can just play it safe, keep it the same way, and you'll still have 2 first round draft picks, which allows you to deal with 2 of your 3 biggest issues: the offensive line, the receiving core, and your pass rush. So you can potentially get an edge rusher and an offensive tackle to replace Orlando Brown with, these 2 first round draft picks. Or, if you don't want to address the offensive line, you can get an edge rusher and a receiver, or you can go offensive line or receiver. Those 2 draft picks can really help Baltimore. And Baltimore always seems to hit best with their draft picks. Not always with receiver. In fact, not ever with receiver, we're going to be honest. But they usually are able to hit with their draft picks. I trust the Ravens when it comes to the draft. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, hey, you get a first round draft pick to go alongside your own. Now you have 2 first round draft picks. It works perfectly for the Ravens. So this is not a bad deal. Not to mention you get a 3rd and a 4th round draft pick, which extra draft picks always help out. So now you got 9 draft picks in total. This is great for the Ravens. It benefits them. Not to mention Orlando Brown Jr. wasn't going to stay after this. He had 1 year left, and he was very clear that he wanted to play left tackle. There was no way he was going to play left tackle on this team because Stanley's coming back, and he's not losing his position. So he had 1 year left with Orlando Brown, and he was going to walk. It's good to get something from him. And to be able to get a first round pick for a guy you drafted in the 3rd round, you got a first round pick, a 3rd round pick, a 4th round pick, and a 5th round pick in the following draft for a guy you drafted in the 3rd round. Not bad. That's honestly not bad. So, honestly, both teams benefit from this. Kansas City gets the offensive lineman they needed to help solidify their offensive line. And the Ravens get an extra first-round draft pick as well as a couple others that they could use to help build this team. And with those 2 first-round draft picks, it's going to be interesting. This completely changes my whole draft perspective because I thought they were going to potentially trade down or something like that. But now that you have 2 first-round draft picks, you could essentially just use them to address 2 of your 3 biggest needs. So it's interesting to see how the Ravens are going to go with that. But we'll leave it like that. From a business perspective, this deal is great for both teams. It works out for both teams, and it gives them something they want. So it's fine. However, there's the other perspective, the fan perspective. And us as fans, we fit into this role. A lot of us understand that it's a business in the NFL, and sometimes teams and organizations are just going to make business moves. It don't matter. Emotion's not played into it. But as fans, emotion plays into it with us. And even though we understand that, it's not going to change how we're going to feel about the situation. We all understand what this trade does and how this benefits the Ravens. But the fan in us sees that you traded Orlando Brown to Kansas City, and it pisses us off with that. Because this is a team that you haven't been able to beat. This is a team who Lamar himself said is our kryptonite. We haven't been able to beat this team. Their biggest weakness right now is the offensive line. They weren't 100% confident they were going to get their guy with that 31st pick. They were still trying to fix that O-line. You come out here and gift them a Pro Bowl offensive lineman to help fill that tackle position for them, and now their offensive line is pretty much solidified, and Mahomes is going to get the protection. You just helped improve your enemy. A team you couldn't beat, you just helped them out tremendously. From a fan, we're not going to like that. We understand it's a business, and we understand that these type of things happen. And no, most fans that I've seen so far, based on the reaction from this, they're not mad at the trade. They understand it's a good trade. It's going to help us in the draft. But the fact that you did this with Kansas City is what's going to piss us off. You just helped our enemy improve tremendously. You helped them improve in their biggest weakness on the team. That was the biggest hole for the Chiefs. You just helped improve that. Now Mahomes is going to get a lot more protection. Of course, as a fan base, we're going to be mad at that. Because the team that you guys haven't been able to beat, you just helped them solve one of their biggest issues on the team. Yes, the overall trade is great, but you did that. And to make matters worse, you gave them a 2nd round pick as well. Something Baltimore doesn't really do. Baltimore's not the type of team to trade their first and second round picks. You don't see that happen. We're usually the ones that would be gifted a second round pick. Now, if this was a third round pick, I don't think anybody would really be mad at that. And again, I'm not mad at them trading a second round pick. It's just surprising to see them doing that because DeCosta really loves his first and second round picks. Especially that second round pick. He loves his second round picks. So I'm surprised to see they were willing to give up a second round pick. Honestly, if I'm looking at this like based on how they were willing to give that up, it may look like the Ravens could have been in a situation where nobody else was willing to give them what Kansas City was offering. Or maybe no one was really willing to give up anything major for, Orlando Brown. I don't know how the market was for this Orlando Brown trade. We've heard several teams were looking to try and trade for him, but you got to get something of value back. And I don't know if the Ravens were put in a situation where it's like, where is this overall, we can't keep this guy. We know he's going to leave in a year. We know he's going to leave. So we have to make sure we trade this guy. Kansas City is a team we don't want to help, but they can give us draft picks. They can give us something back for him. We have to trade him there. It could have been a situation like that, which is why from the business perspective, I understand it. And I understand that the team had to do it. But again, from a fan perspective, you don't help your enemy improve. This would be like the Steelers trading a receiver, like back in the, let's say 5 years ago when Brady was still there. This would be like the Steelers trading a receiver to New England for a draft pick. The Steelers would never trade a receiver to the Patriots for a draft pick because you're just going to help out Brady. Why would the Steelers willingly help out Brady and the Pats by giving them a receiver? You just don't do it. It may end up benefiting Pittsburgh, but from the fans' perspective, it's like, no, that's the team we're having struggles to beat. We can't beat them. Why would we give Brady another weapon that he can use against our defense? You don't do that. That's just how we feel as fans. Business perspective, this makes sense. Fan perspective, we're not going to like it because you just helped the team you haven't been able to beat. You have not beaten this team in such a long time. And the funny thing is, this doesn't even relate to Mahomes because, yeah, Mahomes, we haven't beaten him. But I don't remember the last time Baltimore's beaten Kansas City. I think it was 2012, 2011, 2012 was the last time we actually beat Kansas City because we weren't really facing off with them. But, ever since Lamar and Mahomes, they both got drafted and there's a rivalry there, all of a sudden the NFL's like, yeah, have them face off against each other every single year. Beforehand, it was 2 to 3 years. Last time I remember facing off against Kansas City prior to 2018 was 2015. Back when, everybody got injured and we played against Kansas City. I remember Kamar Aiken caught that Hail Mary at the end of half. We lost that team. So, we haven't beat Kansas City in years. It's been a long time since we beat Kansas City. So, a team you've had struggles to beat, you just assisted them by giving them a huge asset that can help fix their glaring issue, their most glaring issue on the team. You just helped fix that. As a fan, you hate to see it, and it's tough to deal with. So I understand how some people are feeling by this, and they're looking at this situation saying it's a terrible trade because you just helped Kansas City get better. So I understand both perspectives. Pretty much everyone's opinion so far, just reaction to this, has been a mix of these two perspectives. They're not mad at the trade, and they understand that the trade benefits us, but at the same time, why did you trade to Kansas City? So it's the two perspectives that kind of make everyone's reaction. With that being said, overall, I want to express this. I'm not mad at the trade. I don't want you to look at the reaction video and make it think oh, man, I hate this trade. This trade's terrible. I'm not mad at the trade. I was never mad at the trade. I was fine with the trade. It's a great trade that helps both teams, and this is really going to help us out. So I'm actually really excited to see what the Ravens are going to do this upcoming draft. Thursday should be very interesting to see. So I'm not mad at the trade itself. I was more so shocked that the Ravens were willing to make this trade with Kansas City because, you don't give Kansas City a player that's going to help fix a huge glaring issue they had on the team. So now they're much better, and now their offensive line is much better because of Orlando Brown Jr. But it is what it is. We'll see what the Ravens do with the draft. With that being said, that is all I got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.